I didn't actually check to see if the camera was in a good position or if it's just going to be aimed off into absolute nothingness. But I guess we'll see, right? Anyway, hi. I just was looking over analytics on YouTube and then I realized that actually this is the, well, 1 year and 1 week anniversary of me posting the first video on this channel. So it's time to celebrate. Yay! To be honest with you, my goal for this channel in this year was 400 subs. We are just shy of 2,000 as of current speaking. That's good. YouTube has been changing algorithms very drastically as of recent, and as such, things have been really bad, honestly, across the other two channels. So seeing that this channel is... I'm taking some guesses about what's going on with the analytics with this channel, and it seems to be paying off. And more so than that, having the Patreon, thank you. Thank you guys on Patreon, because holy crap, this year, for those reasons, would really suck if it weren't for you guys, and it wasn't for you guys who come by streams, not just these, but also the video game ones. I mentioned this already on my last video game stream, but thank you guys. So we're going to be doing something other than the normal painting. Someone wants me to shout someone out, but I don't know the name. But it sounds familiar. Let me check. Give a shout out to Christina Applegate. What did she do recently that we need to... She was on Friends and Married with Children? What? Okay. Well, you do you, Christina Applegate. Whatever you're doing that involves me shouting you out. Unless if it's bad, in which case, you know, go screw yourself. But assuming she's being good, let's just move on. There's the back of my chair. Hello. And it's a brand new canvas. It's like a whole new experience. Yeah, that's way too high. Is that better? That's not any different. Someone said they like it when I do this. Alright, cool. Is that it's like I'm like grabbing them by the throat and forcing them to watch me paint. Which is, you know, not exactly the vibe that I'm going for here. But I'll roll with it. So I guess you guys are watching me you're painting. Yeah, there it is. Sharky dog. Snarky dog. Oh my. Yes, a blank canvas. What are we going to be doing today? Today we're going to be doing something that I wanted to do something for Inktober, but I don't really like the Inktober prompts. Can I say ranch it up? Ranch it up, then, I guess. Let me get the music going, and then we'll get started. So, to deviate a bit from Inktober, I'm going to be using instead just black paint. I feel like people get too caught up in the this, that, and the other of what it means to do the Inktober thing, and it's to the point where it just becomes like, I don't know. I don't want to say like abusive, but just like people treat it as if they're right, always and objectively. You know what I mean? Alright, let's get a different song. There we go. Alright, cool. I read something about the most relaxing music that has been ever created. I said that Coldplay was on the list. I don't find them particularly relaxing. But... So to be started, I'm just going to be using black. This is all going to be black paint. So in order to have deviation in the color and being able to see stuff, I'm going to use black paint plus water and using the white of the canvas to really give us essentially a bunch of different shades of black and gray. I'm hoping that this works. I actually have no evidence that it will, aside from me just guessing that it will. It's a little bit darker than I'd like, but if I spread it around, maybe it goes lighter? We'll see. And then I don't normally like painting the edges of my canvases. I think it looks tacky. But for this one, the edges are going to be black anyway, so I could probably do that and not feel bad about it. So what I did to set up for this painting is I spent probably about an hour yesterday messing around in Gmod. Because I had this idea in a dream that I was going to do like a cityscape, but it was like a cityscape that was like overly crowded with like buildings and infrastructure to the point that you couldn't do anything or really go anywhere. And it was just like this for miles, you know? And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if I painted that? And then I wanted to do something for Inktober, and I'm like, cool, there we go. I know you're joking when you say, like, oh, you're not using ink for Inktober. First off, I'm not even doing one of the prompts. Second off, I'm not even using ink. So I'm kind of just doing my own thing, which is, it's something I want to talk about in this week's Artcade. It's part of the reason that, I'm doing this painting rather than the Timo's Garage thing. It's because I want to see, like, I want to do something different, you know? I want to, like, encourage the idea that was originally proposed with Inktober, you know? The idea of Inktober is that, you know, you put yourself to a really rigorous time schedule, and that you improve your skill by not allowing yourself to, you know, fix mistakes because you're using ink. So I'm going to keep with the spirit of it more so than the actual, like, thing. Because I already keep myself to a really rigorous schedule when it comes to art, you know? It's one completed painting every 2 weeks, give or take. Sometimes I do something else, like how to pack a painting video or something, which was as much a video on how to pack paintings as it was, like, evidence that I did it, you know? So, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I like the idea of Inktober. This is a little bit of a spoiler for this week. Maybe I should just talk about, like, the painting itself. So, what I did for this was I went into Gmod, and I spawned in a bunch of stuff, and then I arranged it the way that I'd wanted to, so that way it looked like the dreams, that way I could keep these angles right. And this is the result. I am recording, right? Yes, good. So these are the really far off things. What is Inktober? Inktober is a thing that every October there's a list of 30 official prompts done by a comic book artist, and you use the hashtag for it, yada yada. And by doing that, you can be, you know, doing this thing with everyone else. You have to use ink, that kind of thing. These are the official rules, but rules are meant to be broken. That's why you're an artist, so I don't know. I don't pay it too much mind. I've tried to do it before. I got kind of bored of the prompts. I like the idea conceptually, but I have a problem with its execution as far as how people treat it. Today is also National Mental Health Awareness Day, which is interesting because, like, last time we talked about mental health and the whole BetterHelp debacle, which seems like it's trying to clear up but hasn't yet, which is weird. Like, it seems like that would be over and done with if they're above board about everything. So, I don't know. I had a bad feeling about them. It was not like a bad feeling. It was more just like I didn't know anything about them. I even asked the therapist I was seeing at the time when I got that deal offered to me by them, like, hey, have you heard of these guys? And she said she hadn't, but she'd let me know what she had heard or if anyone heard anything about it. Um, and never really got back to me, so apparently she didn't hear anything. Or she just didn't follow up with me. I wasn't paying her anymore, so she didn't really have to. But because I didn't hear back, because I didn't have any confirmation that they were legit or illegitimate, I was like, listen, I'm not putting my reputation on the line here for a company that I don't know anything about. And it's not like a video game where, like, if I play a video game and it ends up being garbage, like, you know, whatever. Stuff happens, right? I think you guys will forgive me if I play a game as part of some sort of sponsorship and then it turns out that it's garbage, you know? But when it's like a mental health thing where I'm going like, this is for your health, physical or mental, I guess I should say, then it becomes a little bit like more like, I need to know the answer to this question. Like, I need to know, are these guys legit? And if I don't have an answer to that question, then I can't do it, you know? It's why you don't do supplements. You know, I see a lot of people on Instagram do like supplement things that like, oh, if you just take like 800 gallons of carb battery acid a day, then you'll be fine. Cures all sorts of diseases and horrible things that could happen to you. Look at that. It's like magic. You know? We'll sell it to you from this really sketchy website. BetterHelp is in a better position than that because they seem like they have some legitimacy to like their stuff, but the main thing is that they just don't verify or can't prove that everyone they've hired is legit and above board. And that's a bit sad. Because it's just like, that's a cool idea. Apparently there are other services like it. I'm going to wait, though, before I see the end of this to see whether or not this is legit. And if it's not, if they're not legit, then I just won't go with them. Sort of the same thing I said with Watch Dogs back in the day. That, you know, if, you know, I told people, like, don't buy Watch Dogs until you know it's good, you know, until they fix all these patch problems. And someone in my chat said, well, what if they never fix it? And I said, don't buy it until it's fixed. And then as far as I know, they never fixed it. So I guess my recommendation stands, don't buy Watch Dogs. But I think everyone kind of learned that warning already, you know? That's going to be my way of dealing with BetterHelp as well. That until I feel like it's sufficiently cleared up, until like things are to my liking, I'm not going to partner with them. And it just seems like bad press at this point to be like, oh yeah, they're in the middle of a controversy, but did you get a sponsorship offer with G Fuel? I've gotten some for like chairs. That's one that I've gotten a couple of times where it's a chair. It's like a gamer chair, whatever that means. And the issue with that was that I don't really like those chairs. I find them aesthetically unpleasing. And they only gave me like a commission price for it. So like for every chair I sold, I got like 20% or something. And the chairs were like expensive. So that was a significant amount of money. But it was also just like... it was weird, is what it was. Okay, so this one actually doesn't exist. This one needs to be over this one here. So one issue I'm noticing with this is that like the consistency of the black is like a little bit varying. And it's depending on like when in the stroke I'm getting it. I don't normally do this. This is kind of new for me. I didn't get a sponsorship deal with G Fuel as far as I remember. Or at least I don't remember. Oh. Okay, I really hope they're supposed to be gray there. Okay, it's actually okay, but... so I'm going to try and avoid using white, just because it'll have a different texture than the white that's on there, but it may not be a thing where I could do it. It's too bad. It's really what it comes down to. I think it's too watery right now. I'm going as watery as possible so that way I can get a gray out of my black. So if I recall correctly, what I did for this section was I got that, yeah, that kind of is a good point. I don't really get why you get one of those chairs for a chair that you're supposed to sit in all day. Preferably be just like a really comfy chair, I would think. You know? I'd kind of like a chair that I could knock the arm off so that way I could play guitar. Because I can't really play guitar in this chair. Or really any of the chairs that I have in the apartment. Because you need to be able to like put your guitar like this, right? But this arm gets in the way. I don't think you could see what I was motioning to, but there's an arm on both of my sides of my chair. That would be nice. Like, if they were building a chair for me, that would be something that I'd have. And when I was playing, like, Rocksmith a lot more, which I need to get back into the habit of, I need to go back to doing Rocksmith. Because that was a good way of practicing. Rocksmith, for those of you that don't know, was like... It was like Guitar Hero, but, like, it hooked up to your phone, your guitar, I should say. Not your phone, what? And it would know what you were playing based on, like, if your guitar was in tune, you know? So if your guitar was in tune and then you played on a fret, then it would make a sound, and then that would do the thing. So what's today's prompt? I'm just doing whatever I feel like. Screw the rules. As far as, like, what am I painting? Yeah, that cut on my hand is from Herman. I was hoping that no one would notice that. He kind of banged me up right before I went live, and it's like, dude, really? I gotta go to work. I gotta, like, stream, dude. And then I got one on my, like, wrist that just looks gross. It doesn't hurt or anything. Maybe I should put a band-aid on this one so that way you guys don't have to see it. Wouldn't it interrupt you and play Freebird every 5 minutes? I kind of want to learn that song. I mean, it's Leonard Skinner, so, you know, not the best band ever, but it's kind of a banger, I'll be honest with you. Like, have you listened to all of Freebird? There's a reason that people call that out. It's a good song. Like, that guitar solo goes hard. There's a story that I was, I don't want to say writing, because I was coming up with it on the spot. It was like a, it was for the sake of, like, having something to, like, I don't know, say, to, like, help, get to sleep. Does that make sense? Like, a bedtime story. That's what it is. Herman plays rough when he doesn't want to be canned. And by canned, I mean put up in his crib. He's not a fan of being in his crib. And I get that. Like, I put him in there for way longer than he really should be. But he also tries to jump into the pat. Or like, paint. And, like, I don't want to, like... He has not had his first bath yet. We've had him for 2 months, and we haven't given him a bath yet. He's about... I don't know how old he is. Couple months. I think he's somewhere in the 6-month region. He's big enough to be an actual cat. I'm betting that Tilda knows this stat, but I don't. It's on his little, like, adoption papers. that we got, but I don't remember what they were. So yeah, I have I bought a cushion from um Office Max because I sit in this chair too much. I mean, I got this channel to run, I got After Hours to run, I've got Twitch streams to do. I got, I got to sit in this chair for a good chunk of the day. And so it's like, well, what am I, he doesn't stink too much. He's good. I think I'm a little off on some of this, but you guys will never see the original thing, so it doesn't really matter. It's more about the idea than anything else, and I'm not sure if this is gonna work even. Think you're done with art for now since you've tried moving to digital work? Digital is hard. Digital can be very difficult. Alright, and then right in line with that, and slightly above that one, is this line. So this is a like a pallet, like a wooden pallet, that has been set in the skybox, so it's massive, and it's just sort of hovering over the cityscape that I made. But it's so far in the back that it's like foggy and you can't really see it. Just gonna try and get some of this off that area and move it over so it kind of evens out a bit. Nope. Traditional does take up physical space, but digital, like, I don't know, I probably have like a few unfinished works of digital work on my computer that are taking up like a gig or two, and not like individually, but collectively, just unfinished work that I'll never get around to doing again because there's always a new project to be done. And I kind of like the idea of it, like, I don't know. I also like having an original, Though the main reason I'm selling print or like actual physical originals, like the eBay auction that's going on, is I don't have room in my apartment anymore. I need to get that stuff out. And so it's just like, well, I guess I'll sell it, because there's nowhere else to put it. I'm running out of room. It's one of the problems with this channel, but, it's a good problem to have, that you have too much work that you have to sell it. And that means that I keep, somewhere around like 10 to 8 for gallery shows and for my own, personal, just, I like this painting. I feel like I talk about that too much. The undo button I actually hate. I hate the undo button. I feel like digital is more forgiving when it comes to quality because you can undo. And when it becomes because of that, it's just a constant issue of, hey, sweep you guys over just a little bit. Someone linked that auction. Let me fire it. There you go. There's already a couple of bids on it. So right here needs to be blasted out. It's starting to come along. Yeah. Exactly, and that's my problem with it, Sweeney. Is it has to be good. I could fix that. I'm just being lazy by not doing the undo button now. You know what I mean? So this is wrong. Just as an aside, I just realized that this is too far down, and it's because I was chasing that drip and was trying to fix it. So I wonder if I can actually, like, erase. No, that's pretty well in there. Well, actually, maybe. Maybe? Not really, is the answer. So, once I put down a line, it is there. It can be darker, it can't get much lighter. Okay, good to know. That's too watery. I like not having undo, you know? Like, this is a mistake, so I could undo back to the beginning of this painting if I wanted. Or I could Control-C, Control-V some stuff back into position the way I want it. Or I could just roll with the fact that I screwed up, and now I'm going to have to fix it. And I kind of like that about paint, is that, like, I don't know. I just have to deal with whatever it gives me and whatever I do. And it just teaches me to be a better artist next time. I'm okay with that. It's a little bit annoying, but I'm okay with it. Teeth strat, though, I know. I shouldn't be putting it in my mouth. It's a bad habit. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Don't put things in your mouth that are used with, like, heavy chemicals. Like, kind of a no-brainer, really. But considering I'm dumb enough to do it, like, I've got to mention it. Pain is not good for you. You shouldn't ingest it. I'm very much of the mindset that, like, I'm imperfect, and so I have to just roll with those imperfections, and I can try and fix them, I can try and, you know, make them better, but, I'd rather just screw up and fix it, you know? And so, this just works more with my mindset of how life works, and how I see myself, than, that makes it sound really flighty, like, it makes it sound real deep and like, oh my god. Rev thinks about things a lot, doesn't he? No, this is the guy who just told you not to eat paint. Like, you know, I'm just thinking, like, you know, I don't personally like the aesthetic of having to fix digital stuff constantly, you know? Maybe it's a excuse. Senpai noticed you? Senpai noticed you. Hello. So we're doing all the background stuff first, then we'll do the rest of it. This is a very intimate chat. It's a very, like, small chat. So this is like, if you've ever wanted to ask me something, this is the place to do it, more so than my regular streams. Because the number of people who show up for this versus a regular stream, you know, it's a little bit easier to get my attention. Green paint used to have arsenic in it. At least green wallpaper paint. Oh, sorry, coughing because I ate too much paint. I don't know how this is going to turn out, or even if this will turn out the way I want it to. I'm going into this very blind. I'm not too impressed with how it looks right now, I guess I should say. So, we'll see if I can fix it. If not, then no, but, you know, I'll do something else then, you know? I got a couple of days till Saturday, or Sunday, I should say. I recorded something for Saturday. I may not use it. It kinda depends. Because I gotta go to, like, normal work tomorrow, and I got a meeting tonight at normal work where who knows what we're talking about. Hopefully they haven't noticed that I slack off at work sometimes. Not really. I don't really slack off. It's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I check my phone because it's dead. And I could be doing normal work, like the stuff that they're paying me to do, rather than that. And yet I don't, because I'm not getting paid enough to be doing that all the time. It's a horrible mindset to be in, but it's also just like, I don't get, you know, breaks, so if you don't want to give me 15-minute breaks, I'm going to take 15-minute breaks whenever I feel like it. Out of the line of sight of the camera, of course. That's, you know, the smart way of doing it. Alright. So now, in line with this, there's like right here, there's a line. This kind of reminds me of that auto computer generated one. I think it's because it's a cityscape, and right now it just looks like formless masses. I don't think I'm lazy at work, I guess I should say. I think the training is something else, like getting ready for all the big games coming out. Red Dead's coming out, and Call of Duty's coming out. And you gotta keep in mind, this is mostly like a video game. Like, we got some PC games, but not really. So, like, we gotta worry about that stuff, and then we gotta worry about the book sales that are coming up, and it's just like... It's dumb because I don't work in the book department, but I gotta care about the book department. So I don't really know what's going on in there. Surveillance man here, don't worry, I'm on the phone all day too. Fortunately, I know that it's just recorded and not actually like sent to someone else. So as long as there's not a break-in, as long as my boss isn't trying to figure out why my numbers are bad, he won't check the recording, and so he won't know. But sometimes he does, and he's in the past forced ex-coworkers to watch themselves just like do nothing for hours at a time while getting paid. So I may be forced into one of those meetings soon. Oh, there's the first click. It's turning out okay. I need to like fix this darkness, that way it's the same. But yeah, I spent about 2 hours today recording and editing a video for Saturday, and I don't know if it's any good. Halfway through, I'm like, I even say in the recording, like, is anyone actually gonna watch this? And I was like, you know what? I think it's okay. I think it's okay for reasons that I came up with that I can't say, because otherwise it spoils what it is. And I was like, you know what? People are gonna watch this because they're not here because it's good. They're here because it's funny to watch me suffer. So I want to get on to like actually using black paint, like as black paint, not gray paint. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to rush through some of this. So I spent a little bit of time doing that. It's partly the reason why the video game stream that we're going to do here in a bit is only going to be like an hour long, because Tilda gets home, well, she'll get home at somewhere around 7, and from now until then, I want to have 2 hours of this, because if I do about 9 more streams this year on this channel, counting this stream, then it's enough to push it over 4,000 viewer hours. So it's like, okay, that's doable. I was gonna try and do it before like the anniversary of this, you know, channel, but then I looked it up today and found out that that actually passed like last week. So it's like, okay, we'll do it by, you know, the end of the year. You know, I'm gonna have it in review. Probably will be in review for like a while, because it sounds like that process is really long. On my first 2 channels, I didn't have to deal with that because that wasn't a thing until the whole Logan Paul incident. Well, yeah, and I hope you feel better. Jeez, that sucks. I heard that there was a documentary on him recently, and that in the documentary they have a psychiatrist claim that he's a sociopath, which I disagree with them being able to make that diagnosis. The simple fact of the matter is that they didn't actually have a one-on-one conversation with him, and he could actually just be like a character. It's hard to imagine him just being a character, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, you know? But, you know, if she ever actually did do an investigation on him, if they ever did have a sit-down meeting, and she actually reported that without his consent, which it sounds like this whole thing was done more or less without his consent, then that's actually, like, really illegal, like, against HIPAA, the, something or other Hospital Patient Protection Act or something like that. It's like the first thing that gets drilled into you when you start going to school for any of this. You violate HIPAA, you lose your job. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can really see what I'm going for without, like, the context of anything else that's happening. But trust me when I say that this is going to be a city skyline. Now, there is, like, some huge, like, it's sort of a Deus Ex sort of city, where it's just, like, the people at this level of the city don't get to see the sun. It's very dystopian in a way. But you know, that's kind of what I was going for, because that's what happened in my dream. Was there was just this you couldn't see. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. There you go. That thing. Looks like an old construction site now. Yeah, there's like, I mean, this is way off in the distance, and we'll make it like fade back more in a minute. I think I might go over this entire thing with like, ooh, that's scary. Maybe not. I was gonna say I might go over this entire thing with a wet brush to make this whole thing lighter, but I don't know. That's a scary thought. All right, so that's that one right there. Actually, it's a little bit skinnier than all that. This may not work, which means that I may just do like a black and white skull for this week instead. My point is that, like, though he may be a sociopath, I don't consider that conclusive evidence to prove it. Because, again, that could just be his character that he plays, you know? Like how PewDiePie used to have a character and now he's just that. But it's one of those YouTube drama things that I just don't care. If that makes sense. Like, is there any point in caring about that? A lot of things that I think I'm supposed to care about and I don't. It gets me in trouble. That one I don't think is one of them. I'm gonna use the big brush because I'm using the little brush too much and it's gonna get all frayed and stuff like the big brush is. I need to make sure that I'm not muttering to myself when I'm over here because you won't be able to hear me. Okay. So, now I just gotta make this whole thing have like a similar quality to it. Oh, my nose itches. Probably just scratched some paint directly up into my nostril and snorted it like cocaine. It's good. Who's that guy that used to be a thing? He had like the weird face. That doesn't help any. He used to be like a really popular YouTuber. And he just basically like announced what was going on Reddit, and that was his shtick. but like then people figured out that that's all he was doing, and then he just stopped being a thing. Whatever happened to him? Well, thank you, Tatiana. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different thing than my full regular streams. A lot of people still do that. That describes a lot of YouTubers. Okay. There's one guy who started that trend, though, and I don't remember his name. But I knew people who were, like, super into his content, and then when it was, like, a thing that they found out... Okay. Alright, let's try and get some black lines in here. Let's try and get some of the black in, then I might start feeling more comfortable about this whole thing. So this is just like straight up black. This is gonna... I might need a different brush for this. So do I have one that kinda... Captain Sparkles does that a lot too. We beat out Captain Sparkles the other day when we were streaming Minecraft, so he can do him and I'll do me. I guess that's what it comes down to in a lot of these cases. There's just like, as long as you're not like treating your fans like crap, then whatever. If they want to hear you read Reddit to them, everyone's got personal tastes, I guess. I tried looking into Reddit just to figure out like things to talk about, but that website makes no sense to me. I feel like I must be an idiot because I have no idea what's going on with that website. Like, at least the mobile app is fairly useless. Because it's like, I can't just have it where I have like a feed of the channels that I'm watching, right? It's just random stuff being like shown to me. Stuff that's like in subreddits that I'm not even available or wanting to see. And it's just like, but I didn't want to see this. I want to see the ones that I actually subscribe for, but that's not what you get to see. You get to see everything else. It's just like... Okay. So what we got here is a bunch of stuff going on in the background as far as like cityscape stuff that's gonna kind of just... This is all not important. For as much time as we just spent on that, it's not very important. And then we're going to have, like, the actual stuff that you see. Like, the buildings that are closer to us are going to be in black and white. And it'll make everything pop. It'll make sense. So, this layer right here, the guy that... So there's a guy in this painting. He's fairly close to the edge of a bridge. And I don't know if you've ever been under a bridge, but sometimes bridges... under them have secondary bridges under them, which is weird. But in that under bridge thing, there's a guy standing and he's sitting on a railing right about here, and he's looking out to the city. So I really need to make sure that that's super clean by the end. And I'm not really happy with it yet. So I'm going to see what ends up still being there by the end, and then we'll kind of fix it based on that. I'm sure, Kiki. I'm glad that you have enough work that you can be tired, no offense. It's good. I'm all registered to vote. You know, I kept seeing things like Google and all that telling me, go register to vote, make sure you vote. I intend on voting this time. Who is it recently that... I mean, like, Kanye has obviously been talking about politics a lot recently. But who is it recently that got in trouble for talking about politics? I feel like it was Taylor Swift. And people got really mad that she's, like, left-leaning and stuff like that. But also applauded when Kanye said stuff. So it's kind of like... I don't know. Kind of goes into what I was saying the last couple of times about, like, is there a place for that? Was it Taylor Swift? I don't know. One of those pop singers that seems to still keep going on. What are you guys voting on? So for America right now, we're having the midterms coming up, which is you got your primaries, you got your really important stuff, you know, like the presidential stuff. That's, you know, a while from now, but the midterms is usually a lot more local, and the local stuff is kind of the more important stuff. Well, I saw it trending on Twitter, so I figured I'd talk about it, because that's how I've determined stuff to talk about now. I got mad at Mark Hamill for supporting her. Mark Hamill has not exactly been silent about his opinions on stuff, so if it's like surprising now to you that he supports her, I want Luke Skywalker to support me. I want Luke Skywalker to say nice things about me. You know what I mean? Okay. But you see how that's like the underbelly of a bridge there, like one of the pillars? This is going to be the other pillar over here. After I get these 9 streams under my belt and get the thing up to the 1,000 or 4,000 hours, I think I might take a break from streaming on this channel for a bit. No offense to you guys. And I like streaming here, but sometimes, like, you know, there are times where, like, I could be working, but, like, Tilda's on the phone with her sister or what have you. And, like, I don't have that time to work when I stream here exclusively as the only time that I paint. It also means that if you're subbed at the, like, you know, any tier level, I was going to say $10 tier, but it's any tier, you don't get the benefit of being able to see the full stream. I mean, I guess you get the full stream in 1080p, which is nice, but... what does it say? As a non-American, one thing I hear about your elections, register to vote, every vote counts. The votes mean nothing, the party with the lower votes can still win. Okay, so basically, in order to make things... This is the way it's taught in government class. So if it sounds like I'm an idiot, understand that I'm stupid. In order to protect the people from themselves being able to vote in the way that they want, they decided to have districts, and every state has numerous districts, including every city having districts. So you vote for stuff for your district, and then your district or your whatever thing has a certain amount of points called, like, the Electoral College, right? And these points depend on population, roughly. So, like, Texas has a lot of Electoral College points. We'll call them points for the sake of ease. And so if you win Texas, if you have, you know, enough votes in any of those counties, you can win the entirety of Texas, despite maybe completely losing in all the big cities, but the rural towns, you know, voted for you real hard, you know? The idea being that it balances things out, so that way, you know, a place like Texas isn't worth so many more points than whatever. It gets really dumb. The problem with this is that there's a thing called gerrymandering, which is basically like those subdivisions of those places, of Texas, of Austin, or whatever, can be, like, cut up in any way that the government feels like cutting them up. And so if you know that, like, XYZ neighborhood typically votes against your party, you can divide their area up in a really weird, bizarre way, so you get more people in each little district, in each little area, voting for you, even though if you had done it in a more sensible way, they would have voted against you, right? It sounds dumb. It is dumb. If you think it's dumb, you're understanding it. So you can lose the popular election. You can lose by having less people vote for you, right? But you can also win by having less people vote for you, depending on where those people live. So your voting power may be more or less, depending on where you live. For instance, in Austin, if you're a right-leaning person, you're not going to have your voice heard. Like, in local politics, the left is going to win. Just because there's a slant to the way that the town is, you know, divided up to some degree. I think. And no matter how much it's gerrymandered, how much they try and cut it up, they can't make it so that way anyone else wins, right? And it's usually the ruling party at whatever time gets to decide how the place is cut up, right? which means that third parties that aren't Democrats or Republicans rarely ever get votes. Or enough votes that they can win because they are cut up in such a way that they don't get a chance. And then they don't win the election, so they don't get to cut it up however they want. So that way they get more of a chance next time. That being said, despite Austin being very left-leaning, it's left-leaning in a very right-leaning state. So despite the fact that this has a huge population, it's a huge city, if you're left-leaning and you live in Texas, you're probably not gonna get what you want. This is kind of why, in both cases, I'd very much like it to be based on individual votes, rather than the Electoral College system. Because, aside from that, the Electoral College is technically people who are like, this is what your group of, like, your, you know, the people who are in your district voted, so you need to vote that way. But in order to prevent really stupid things from being voted into law, they have the Electoral College have the option to just not do that. So you can just decide not to vote in the way that your district said that they wanted you to vote, which is controversial and rare, but totally legal. So in other words, everyone in Texas could vote for say Hannah Montana, right? And then the Electoral College person, the person deciding that, could just be like, no, that's dumb. And then vote for someone else. Despite the fact that everyone in Texas voted for Hannah Montana. Obviously a hypothetical situation, but you know what I mean? It's a really bizarre system. It really is. I'd very much prefer if it was like one vote equals one vote towards or against a person. So that way, the popular vote and the person who wins are the same person. You know, it becomes a like, you know, it gives a chance for third parties. It gives a chance for kind of weird politics to happen. Let's not vote for Hannah Montana, let's vote for Miley Cyrus. It's a good point, we ought to vote for her. Hannah Montana, she's kind of out of control. But Miley Cyrus, she's got a good head on her shoulders. It does mean that, like, it's more susceptible to, like, having to count every single vote. But, and that's usually, like, the argument against it, but, like, are you implying that we're not? Like, why aren't we counting every single vote if that's the problem? Like, if the problem is that we can't possibly count every single vote, then we have a problem with our system. So what's the point of democracy if we don't actually vote on things? It is, I mean, like in every country, it's based on popularity, but not to that extent in the United States because of the Electoral College system. But I would I would prefer it if a candidate that I didn't like won based on the popular vote. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, well, I'm in the minority here. Like, I don't represent all of America's views, so okay, I get it, you know? That being said, that does marginalize large groups of people. But that kind of happens anytime you have any sort of voting system. We don't have, like, a really well-functioned democracy. It kind of does its own thing, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think that was a really nonpartisan way of explaining all of the issues with the American politics system. Yeah. I don't think anyone on any side of the aisle could get offended at what I just said. It's just an accurate description of politics. But the midterm is really important this year because if right now the Republicans control, you know, a majority of the governmental positions. So if the Democrats can actually come out in a mass, they can do things like, you know, stonewall or just stop Trump from doing things. And so Republicans want to get out there and vote for their Republican candidates to prevent the Democrats from winning and then having the ability to override stuff. Someone will still get offended by it. Of course, someone will get offended by anything and everything I say. Whereas the Democrats want to do it, want to get in control, so that way they can just say, you know, no to what Trump's trying to do, no to what the Republicans are trying to do, and it should deadlock the system. Now, there was a similar sort of thing that happened, but in reverse, when Obama was in office, where Republicans were able to get control of everything, and then, therefore, anytime Obama would try and do something, they would be like, nah, no, we're not doing that. And unless if he used executive orders, basically the yaha option of the president, there wasn't anything he could do about it. The other main thing is that if the Democrats actually had control, then they could potentially actually start impeachment proceedings if there was a cause for it. Because that's the thing, is like for impeachment to go through, like they have to actually agree to actually go through with it. Now, if the Republicans don't want to, they don't have to. So, for a lot of Democrats, this is the time to like get out there and vote and potentially have a way of changing a lot of things. And Republicans, by and large, will not want that to happen. So this is a very pivotal, like, midterm election as far as America is concerned, because of that, of the ability for Democrats possibly to get power, and if they do, then we're going to see a whole bunch of changes. And if you're liking what's going on right now in America, then you need to get out and vote and stop that. If you're disliking what's going on in America, you need to get out there and vote, because this is the time for both of those things to change, you know? Or not change. I think that's the system. What is the ambient music you're listening to? It's in the description. I don't remember which one this is. I have it randomly being played because it's called Garden Music by Kevin MacLeod. Texas food is good. It's very American. It's traditionally very American, just unhealthy as all get out. But you know what? Welcome to America, where even the burger buns have butter on them. It's delicious. Absolutely wonderful stuff, but also really unhealthy. I'm thinking that this painting might be too dark. It might not have any light spots where you can actually like focus your eyes. So I'm a little worried about that. But simultaneously I'm continuing to paint, so I guess I'm not too worried. Someone's gonna correct me on what I talked about as far as politics, but I feel like that's more or less right. The Democrats are seeing this as round 2. You know, they lost the primary, they lost the ability to just have Hillary in, and so now it's, can we stop Trump time 2? Kevin MacLeod has like a really recognizable sound list, yeah. But, you know, it also meets my needs of that he's not going to copyright claim this, which means that I can more or less reasonably use it on every single video. I'm just using it on the live streams just because, I don't know, I like having that level of control, but my brush is getting all sorts of jacked up. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, when was the last time it was recording? Oh no. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, let me just like get in front of the camera for a minute, and then it'll just, when I speed it up, it'll look fine. There we go. Now it looks like I was recording the entire time. Oof, though. Oof. That is a solid oof there, Captain. It's gonna be like the fastest section, but like this entire section right here wasn't recorded. The camera just turned off. It does that every now and then because it's not being interacted with, and when it does that, it's pretty bad. I need to get in this railing so that way I feel more comfortable about stuff. I'm probably gonna have to use some white paint. I know I said I wasn't gonna use any, but I don't like this. Like that's supposed to be white. But I don't really care for like how it's done right now. So so the railing is right here. Houston, we have an oops. We have an oof. Just add some sodium light bulb glow to it. Maybe? I don't really know what you're talking about, but so there's this line going up like this, and then it cross hatches over like this. Okay, this brush is getting worn out, so I can't really use it anymore. Which is too bad, but if I'm filling in large areas, then it should be fine. Well, thank you, Kip. I think that's the idea with these streams. It's either something background noisy to kind of listen to, or just something calm to listen to like fall asleep, or what have you. A lot of stressors out there today. Just in the world. So, grab a drink, some cozy blankets, and just chill. Oh, that red-orange glow. I love that light. I love that. Also, I got a haircut. There's another reason that I wasn't doing any streams there for a bit on this channel was because my hair was getting really crazy. And like the hair on the back of my neck was starting to grow real thick, and it started to be like a mullet situation. I don't really want to have like my mullet being shown on stream, if you know what I mean. It's just not a good look. I mean, I want to change up my hairstyle, but I don't think 80s mullet. Am I using a reference for this painting? Yeah. It's a reference I made, but, you know. I'm a little bit off. This is not quite perfect. Have I ever tried out any of those art subscription boxes? Like a Loot Crate sort of thing, but with art? I wasn't even aware that was really a thing. So no? I've looked into ones for like metal and clothing and then stuff like that, but like, because I figure with clothing, like, I don't like shopping, so that would be nice if they just handed me nice clothes, but it's always like formal wear or like hipstery kind of stuff, and that's like not my aesthetic, so I guess I have to go shopping still. Just don't like going shopping. Don't knock the 80s mullet look. I mean, like, it's not a good look though. I like the hair cutter I go to. The one thing I don't like is that, like, he tries to shave, like, parts of my hair so it looks like I've got more of a widow's peak than I do. Like, I think he thinks that I'm trying to go for, like, a Yakuza mafioso kind of look, because he always slicks my hair back when I ask for, like, hey, can you throw a little bit of gel in that? So he, like, slicks it back into, like, this real slick thing. He even said, like, you look like a Bob's, like, what was it? His English isn't good, but he does good haircuts, so whatever. But, he looks like, oh, you look like a boss now, man. Or something like that. It's like, okay. It's not really what I'm looking for, but I guess I look like mafioso, thank you. Metalhead fluff is great. It's a look. There's a guy who came in the other day with that look, and he was rocking it too, cause like he was jacked, and he had tattoos, so like it looked right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use some white on this. I really didn't want to, but I didn't plan quite right. So, that sucks. Well, let's at least get it right. Because I wanted to be like, oh yeah, I only used one color of paint for this. I don't know, I'll try it without, and then I'll see if I can fix it. And if I can't, then I can't. Tell him you're going for more middle management rather than boss. I just want to look like, I don't know, me. I don't really have like a mobster aesthetic that I'm going for. But him shaving like my Widow's Peak-esque hairline back, it's just like, I don't know. Someone commented on it. They're like, Rev, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're going bald. And I'm like, dude, really? Like, look at the hair on my arms. I'm not going bald. Ran into this dude the other day when I was out and about, and he was going bald, something hardcore. Like, enough where I don't think you could see it in the mirror, but like his hair, like he just didn't have hair on the top of his head anymore. I mean, I guess you guys would be the first ones to know if I go bald, because anytime I do this move, you're going to see the back of my head. guy from Binging? What is Binging? I feel like I got a full head of hair going. I just sweep my hair back in such a way that it looks like I'm going bald. It's an aesthetic. It's the mobster sort of look. Apparently. According to my hairdresser. And by hairdresser, I mean, like, I paid the dude, like, I think I was generous this time because it was his birthday. And paid him, like, an extra $5. And that brought the total up to, like, I want to say, like, 20? Somewhere in that region. I go, like, once a month because I hate it. And if people never saw me, probably wouldn't cut my hair that often, but I got a wedding coming up. I can't really change my hairstyle. I don't want to have, like, a weird hairstyle in my, like, wedding photos. You know what I mean? Oh, geez, I messed some serious stuff up. I don't even know where I'm at anymore, man. Oh, geez. That's that, and that's that. All right, let's draw some lines. Okay, so this goes up to here, and then this goes level like this for a bit. And then it goes up right here. Because this is a water tower right here. You guys can't see it yet. It'll work out in a minute where you'll be able to see it. Hopefully. Hopefully I don't screw this thing up too bad. So I can paint this in. Except for right under the water tower there's a window. Okay. Crud. Yeah, we're using some white paint on this. How's it look on the capture? Oh. Well, I guess we're done. Because I ran out of film. I'm not overly impressed with this yet. I might be too close to it. But yeah, why don't we call it there for the day? How does it look to y'all? Looks okay. It looks better on that capture than it does like right up close like I am. And you can tell that it's industrial. You can tell that you're under a bridge. This looks confusing because you don't see what I'm seeing as far as the reference. Yeah, unfortunately it's over because I ran out of film. You can go to patreon.com/RevScarecrow if you want to help support this channel. Or you could just watch me stream, because that's a thing. I can only go for about an hour and a half whenever I'm streaming this, because that's about as much memory card space that I've got. I need to buy a better, bigger memory card. And then same with the battery. I need to buy a second battery. But I think if I just buy one large battery, or no, if I buy one large memory card and then I replace that, like replace the batteries, then that would work. Anyway, I think it's looking okay. So anyway, give me a minute. I'm gonna do some stuff and then I'm gonna switch over and do something else. Let's see what it is. Also, let me link you the this. That's the eBay auction for the painting I have going on. You got a whole bunch of bids right in the first day, or the first couple of hours, and now it's kind of settling out. And I feel like that's how it works. So, let's see what's winning. Someone asked for me to... Oh, no, that was someone responding to Detroit Become Human. Okay. Alright, let's see. What did we vote on? It looks like Yakuza 0 wins, so we'll do an hour of Yakuza 0, give or take, as soon as I can set up. So I will see you guys in a few minutes over on the normal Twitch streams. See you there. Give me a minute to go to the bathroom, all that. BRB. Thank you for coming by.